Recording now.
Okay. It is 1:15. Calling this meeting to order. And we have a guest, Lan, um, as well as myself, Peter, and Steve. So we're going to kind of switch up the agenda here and start talking about scale first and then get to the boring business later. So yeah, what's what are we going to talk about with scale?
Um, I think if anything, the biggest concern with scale is right now is that we want to make sure that the trivia is ready. There's another concern
Mhm.
I have of our our guys didn't all register, and I got an email reminding me. So I want to make
Oh
sure
yeah,
each
I
of you
think it
guys
was me. I
register.
think
Yeah,
I should do that now.
yeah. James said he did
Did
it.
you Okay. Did you email me something or
It's all in the Discord
hang
group
on.
chat
It
for
is.
all of
Okay.
us that are
Okay.
volunteering.
Got it. That's in the general chat.
No, no, no. Volunteer group chat, like direct DM message.
Ah, so that's what VC means. I thought you were talking about Ventura College.
No, voice chat. But no, I'm talking about direct messages.
Yeah.
I DM'd like you and
Oh,
yeah.
and Jeff.
So maybe I can name it so it's obvious. Disable it. I'm so tired of that. Streamer mode. Um, list. Is there a way to name it? Maybe change the icon. Do we have a picture for uncoded? Nope, we do not. Okay, cancel. That'll be another time I'll deal with that. But yeah, so yeah, you and Jeff and James are in that group chat with me. Um, our our last volunteer ticket, I have two people that are candidates. I don't know if either of them will necessarily show, but one is a young friend who I'm trying to get to be a part of it, and older friend, coworker. Um, he's younger than me, but not by too much. Um, and he's excited to be a part of it on the weekend. He can't do the weekdays, unfortunately.
Okay. Now, the link I'm following is the register.socallinuxexpo.org/reg6.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you basically just follow the instructions on that PDF.
Yeah. So while I'm doing that, I can say for trivia, um, I've already got I've got sequence of trivia questions written for the last one. Um, I might go through and just kind of do a little bit of put some new questions in there that's a little more tailored towards the audience. But if not, like I've got working material. They Lewis did ask me to do two trivia sessions, one for the kids and one for the Adult Swim sort of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've yet to do the one for the kids, so I need to do that. Uh, I am kind of expecting that I might be sort of slow with that because I have not written trivia questions for kids yet, and my experience with writing trivia questions for adults is they seem to be too hard.
Yeah.
So I might even like ask some of my get some of my test some questions on my nieces and nephews and just make sure that I'm like getting the right level of difficulty. Um, so that will be Saturday. Um,
So, quick update.
mhm.
Louisa's surprised that the information's not on the website and will bug the people who control the website.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was some part that wasn't intuitive to me. I just looked on the schedule.
No, it's supposed well. It's supposed to be under co-located events and also on the schedule, but
Okay.
it'll only show up if they publish it. So they haven't hit publish yet,
Yeah.
or something like that. I'm told
Okay.
it's from 7:30
Yeah,
to
I don't
11.
think I saw it under co-located events either.
Yeah, somebody has to hit
Or maybe.
publish, and usually
Okay.
they don't unless they get it clear. Whatever you wrote here is what you want published.
You're right. And well,
But it runs 7:30 to 11:30.
You cut
So
out there,
usually
Peter.
the first hour
session
is
was
for the
very
kids
cool.
and family, and then
Mhm.
after that it opens up to everyone else.
Right, and it will appear as game night on
Yeah.
the website.
Hmm.
Okay.
And there should be
Um.
a section on it and the schedule as well, so that people
Okay.
can plan their time.
Okay. So there's one thing that I wanted to raise about the trivia. Um, I just found out today that my grandma's health has taken a turn for the worst. So I don't know if something may change between now and Saturday, which may require California. Steve, if I give you like the PowerPoint presentation and all the questions, would you be able to host?
I could give it a try. Um, I guess, yeah. I guess the only thing would be I definitely need a good, solid idea of the equipment setup for the location that you'd have in mind.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. We actually haven't figured out the projector screen. We have a projector, but not a screen yet.
Right.
I have a screen.
It,
Do you have a screen there?
It's really best if you ask Luis for what you need, because he has
Yeah.
all the equipment. Like he's supposed to provide the equipment,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I will let
So
him know
so
that
that was
if
the
you
thing
need
that
a
he said
screen,
that
I
he
have
couldn't.
a screen.
Okay. Yeah, he told us that we would need to provide our own screen and projector, and
Okay.
I think he said that he would provide the mic and the PA.
Okay.
I have my own
I have a
mic and PA as well, so I can
I have
go ahead.
a projector. I mean, I have a screen that I use for my events, and I'm trying to remember. It's one of those like
Mm-hmm.
portable screens. But I'm trying to remember how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not 100 inches. I feel like it's
Okay.
70 inches.
Well, my
Right.
projector is kind of a home projector that probably wouldn't project anything clearly that big anyway. As long as it's big enough to um, it doesn't have to be that big, I think, for people to be able to read it from the back. So if you're willing to volunteer that, we would be very, very grateful.
Okay.
and would you
See
say
if I
it's a
can figure out how big it is. It's probably 80 inch.
diagonal or horizontal?
It's how they normally talk about it.
Oh, okay. Is it? I don't know if it's different for projectors than it is for screens. Um, Screens they go with the diagonal. And mine is a 95. So looking at mine, if you had one that's 100 with just even well, if it's a diagonal that's like a widescreen diagonal, then that should be absolutely fine. Might come into question if it's like more of a square shaped diagonal that measures.
No, no, it's rectangular,
Okay.
and let me. I don't remember. It's so long since I bought it, but I'll show you an example of what it looks like in the board. It's basically like an easel. Okay, that's not a very good. Let me see if there's a way to share. Let me try sharing my screen.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do you see an Amazon page with a screen?
Yep.
So it's this style where it has like a little bit of a tripod.
Yeah.
And this one in particular.
Yeah, sort of like a mic stand.
Do they have anything in
Okay.
there that is like a picture we can compare size to other things? Like a person standing next to it?
There.
I'd say that works for what we need.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I will have it
Yeah, I think so.
available. I usually keep it in my car. So, yeah, and it's pretty good for projecting in even like a lit up environment because I use it in the back room of IHOP, and we don't control the lights. But
All right.
the projector is weak. I also have a projector that has a lot of lumens that I bought years ago for both home entertainment and to take to my meetup.
I mean, my projector certainly is weak. It's pretty much like I use white text on a black background, and it's about the bare minimum that it needs to be. So, I mean, I don't want to ask too much, but if you are willing to bring both of those, then
Yeah, you'll have options.
mhm.
Now, the only trouble is that on Saturday I'm very much preoccupied with the Next Generation Playground, so that runs from 11 to 5. So, if
Yeah.
you need something from me, it's more likely that you'll catch up with me at 6 or before 10
Okay.
is the best time.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah.
Peter, you have my number, right?
I mean, if you want any time, I mean, we can go by your availability. Like, if you're available to just swing by our table and drop it, then we don't have to find an intersection, right? It's just whenever's good for you.
Right.
I can come out and to your car and pick things up, or
Right. The screen is actually a bit heavy, and it's gotten some wear and tear. So you always want to double check, even if it has like a strap, the strap isn't actually attached.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
on
an
the
HDMI
duffel bag thing
monitor.
for the carry. Okay.
You see, it's an HDMI
Okay.
connector, and don't expect the audio to be very good. I don't think you're gonna be using the audio. But you might want to look at it early, depending on like if you might have issues projecting until you get to the right screen resolution or whatever. Anyway, let me stop sharing if I can figure out how to do that. And I'll make a note to myself. Okay, anything else?
While we were talking, I was just thinking, since I haven't written the questions for the kids trivia hour, I thought maybe, do you have any advice for like what audience and what type of subject matter would be most popular with the youth? Since you've got a better idea of the type of youth who
The
come
kids
to the
there are
event.
either
Yeah.
the kids of the volunteers or the kids of the attendees. It's not really going to be the people that we recruit for our next generation track.
Okay. I see.
It's really a game night for the community,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Okay.
they're just kids of techies. I can't even
Yeah.
promise they have any interest in tech themselves.
Yeah. So I'll probably go as broad as I can.
Yeah.
Which is generally a good idea. I find in the past when I've gone too narrow, if you get the wrong audience, then like nobody's having fun, you know? What else do we need to think of? We have stickers and everything. We've got business cards.
Mm-hmm.
You have a QR code or some easy way for them to get to your website.
Yep. QR code is on our business cards and on our stickers.
what do you want from them?
Uh,
Like if they visit your site or whatever, what do you want from them? Sometimes having it be very clear, it allows you to take that connection if they were willing to visit their website to they're willing to engage with you more.
yeah. Like for now, the biggest thing is to try and expand our network of people that are connected to us. We'd like people to join our Discord or Element, and share common knowledge, and support for one another in the tech space, especially if they live in or near Long Beach. And otherwise, there's hopes of collaboration with other groups as well. Um, we're
So
just
for joining the Discord, that's really only for people who enjoy joining Discord. It's a hard like unless they had a reason to join your Discord, they wouldn't
right.
type of deal. But when you're thinking about the people that you're collaborating with, you kind of have to have that in mind. People who join your Discord find interest in either socializing with you or in the events that you are running that would benefit them. But if
Somebody's
neither of
joining
that is
Discord
true,
for
then they
Discord's
wouldn't
sake.
bother to join. So if you want people who are to be aware of you and that you exist in their neighborhood, if you have upcoming events that are coming up soon, you'll want to publicize that. And if they go to your website, you want to be very clear that there's an upcoming event where they can actually go in person or whatever and actually find out more about you and why they should join you. And if you want to collaborate with them in the future, you should be kind of more explicit about what kind of collaborations you're looking for when you talk to people. And then if you agree to follow up via email, um, you will follow up. But my experience with after coming from a conference is we all have those good intentions. Sometimes we do follow up, and the other person just drops the ball.
Right.
But at the very least,
Mm-hmm.
if they know what your story is, and later on it's like an easier sell, if they run into you again, or it happens to be the right time, they'll remember that, oh, I talked to this group and they were doing this, and this, and I find that useful now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about having a trivia night scheduled for the Thursday after Scale, so that we kind of had an event that we can advertise at Scale. That would be the 13th. Should I tell James to see if he can get that booked with District 4?
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you're
Okay.
confident, like you'll be ready to go with the questions by then.
Oh yeah, I'll be able to do that. Um, I've my process is actually getting pretty streamlined.
Good.
It
Good.
used to be all over the place.
And if you like have a regular happy hour or something like that, you can mention it. And if you have a flyer or something at the table, just kind of describe the kind of events that you have, and maybe like what you're looking forward to like expand to in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like right now, the biggest thing is like because we don't really have fundraising figured out. We want to bring in more people that are willing to volunteer, right, for such an organization. Um, Most people come in and they just want to be able to connect, or be able to ask around for advice on some projects or troubleshooting they're running into, um,
Hmm.
and that's great. But the real the real way for us to get from this zero to fundraising and maybe even producing a few jobs through our organization is going to take people who have those skills for that sort of thing, to want to join up with us and help us get it done.
Last thing that you said, either the kind of skills or what you're trying to set up.
Say again.
Could you repeat what you were
Oh,
saying about what you were looking for in terms of type of skills or the things that you were trying to do that you feel like you need qualified volunteers with skills for?
Yeah, so the number one set of skills that we tend to lack is business skills because we're mostly engineering and science people. So people who have a background in business and know how to maintain business or at least small business, know how to fundraise for nonprofits and or just have an interest along those lines and are willing to try and learn to help us get up to that point would be great, right? Like, because right now I'm just slow pacing, walking through spaces where there's advice, and all I get is people telling me you need to write a business plan, and I'm like, how? What is that? What does it even comprise of? And so I like I don't I definitely just in the business side I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm fully honest about that. It'd just be a lot easier if there was somebody who did know what they were doing or wanted to know those types of things, so that it'd be easier for them to spend time on that while I keep spending time on learning more tech skills.
I'm trying to figure out how to express that. I think if you run into other nonprofits on the expo hall,
Mm-hmm.
you can like say, can I trade notes with you? Like this is what I'm doing with my nonprofit, and I feel like I can't get all the way here or whatever. Like leverage that kind of networking of either people doing something similar to you
Okay.
or entrepreneurs who are self-employed or running their own business, and just like say, hey, can I take you out for coffee and let's have this conversation, or or something like that. I think that might be helpful.
Okay.
I've had a very hard time finding volunteers in general without having a clear picture myself, or without them having a passion. Like for example, the I run the teen track at Scale.
Mm-hmm.
I inherited it, and this year I've had like a really good like team on it. Before I used to kind of do things by myself, but this year because there was someone who I was helping her run it, and I have more experience with Scale, so I can and I also have a lot of connections in the area. So I filled in like where she might have given up because there was too much friction. I was able to eliminate that friction. And then there was another person who volunteered with us in the room last year, and we tagged her and like say, do you want to do this year? And we were able to collaborate. So I was actually able to get volunteers who I can see them taking over this teen track in the future. But it was both a serendipitous thing that they were already passionate enough to kind of be like volunteering to help with the event, and that even though we were all remote, we were able to have good enough meetings where everyone was contributing, and started to feel empowered to run the event. But a lot of times with volunteers, I find that they're afraid because of joining something that's established. They don't know what they're letting themselves in for. Um, they prefer to do things where it's really clear what the expectation is. And some of our volunteers didn't work out. We had a volunteer that was supposed to do social media for us, and she was kind of still looking for directions from me, or like I would have to tell her what to do to move forward. Whereas I wish that she had kind of seen like what we were trying to do, and she had felt free to move forward with her ideas. So that's the struggle I feel all the time with volunteers.
I see. Yeah.
And
Um,
all I can
I'm
do is try to be more specific about what I want, and also realize that I'm not going to necessarily get a volunteer that goes off and does all the stuff that I don't know how to do. I have to be like very clear at every place. This is what I need from you. Can you do this small bit, until they feel more invested in our group?
that makes sense. I think we're pretty bad at that in general. We, we're kind of often lost and just sort of going like, can you help us? Whereas when I think of my other experiences with nonprofits, usually like kitchens and stuff, like they'll have a they'll have very specific tasks and very specific times, and they just and of course they have such high like volunteer turnover that it's yeah, they have to have to have that level of organization and specificity. Like we need somebody to jump on this grenade, right? And here, this is the very specific grenade that needs to be jumped on.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
And
like so.
also, if you network with other people in similar positions, they'll give you a tip that you can actually implement right away, and then you'll feel like you're actually getting somewhere.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think yeah, it's worked out so far in like being able to get Arthur and Peter and James um, and some others to volunteer for the organization. Mostly, what I've been doing is finding okay, what's your passion, and like whatever that happens to be, I let them run with it. The trivia night example is a perfect case in point. I didn't think of a trivia night being an idea. I didn't have any kind of like passion for a trivia night, but Peter did, and I was like, okay, let's make it happen. And I brainstormed to come up with the way in which ours would stand out over others, and so far it's just working out great because of that. And so I'm just so much more used to like going with that flow and finding the energy. The way we tabled last year really drove a lot of that energy and got people showing up to board meetings and everything. So it's like it really took my friends at this event noticing that we got lots of attention just from the 3D prints that I had made, and and that alone just got them excited to want to do more to be a part of it. Um, that kind of like has dwindled over the year, but it's still like better than it ever has been before last year when we did it with the 3D prints. So it's I don't know, it's as far as being specific about what I want. Yeah, I think I could try to be a little bit more direct and at least saying like I don't really know this about like fundraising or that about fundraising. Anybody particularly passionate about fundraising and working for nonprofits in that way. So
I don't. So I think some people hesitate to speak up because they don't want to get stuck with it. So I do a lot of things because I care about the group and I see that there's a need that needs to be filled. But I don't necessarily like to do stuff that is aligned with my day job because I'm tired of my day job and I don't want to spend my spare time doing my day job. So
That makes
that's
sense.
something to keep in mind. Um, I'm going to switch topics slightly to just tell you that the reason that my Linux user group has stayed together all these years, I'm confident, is because of scale and because so many of us are involved with scale, either as speakers or volunteers or on, in particular, the AV team. And so, because of that, we connect with each other um, beyond just coming to a Linux user group meeting for whatever the topic is, because we have to work on projects together. And that's how we get to know each other outside of regular meetings. And because we are kind of friends in that way, we are more willing to do other projects, or we can reach out directly to them and say, hey, can you do this for me? You would not have volunteered to do it, but because I'm asking, you would give me this help at the time that I need it, and I will figure out how to go forward from there. So that's what I've had to do a lot with what I organize, and I'm pretty much the reason why the group is still together.
yeah,
Anyway, I don't want to take up your whole meeting with this. I'm
I mean,
ha-
this is the bulk of
really
the
happy
meeting
to
for
know
us this week.
last
So
scale, and I'm also happy that you'll have a little bit more involvement this scale. Um, if there's any other question that you have about scale, I can answer it now and in the future. And if you want to think about other ways that you could get involved with scale, I find that scale is one of those things that because it happens on such a regular basis, I can build projects around it. In previous years, we've organized booths as well, and that's kind of been that was our project, was to figure out nice things that have to show off at the booth. or to find like guest speakers. So we would like have our members go out and try to like find guest speakers among all the people at scale. So those are little things that we used to do in the past to keep our group going.
I see. Yeah, that would be interesting too. If we wanted to try and get some lightning talks out of some people that are already speaking at scale,
Hmm.
assuming they happen to
Oh,
be
there's an
in or
idea.
near, yeah, Long Beach.
Right. And anyone who wants to go to scale but can't afford it, they can always volunteer with scale, and that will get them a bit closer to the people who run scale. Because we run on a lot of volunteers. We have a lot of talks, and within the talks, we now have room proctors who introduce the talks and kind of help out with all the speakers. So there's lots of room for different things. We have a tech team that does the computer networking, um, and they really do it at enterprise level because the person who runs it does this regularly, and they care about infrastructure. The people who are into networking, Wi-Fi, and all that, they would learn a lot from working with that team.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, and I run the volunteers for the AV team, and all of our stuff is about automating the streaming of the video to YouTube.
I know that's a task.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I'll just take off and let you get back to your meeting.
Um, Nothing jumps to mind for me. I can, if I think of anything, I can send a message.
Yeah, definitely the same.
Mm.
I feel pretty confident, and you know, it's just I'm so familiar with scale, but like the only things that are different this year are um, are just really nice touches. Like it doesn't really feel like it's too intense.
That's great. So, if you could advertise scale more, that would be great. I have no presence on social media, so anytime that they ask me to help amplify their social media messages, I just shrug. I'm like I'm less than useless in that regard.
Yeah,
Yeah, certainly. In fact, I think, yeah, James should probably post something on the Instagram about us attending
yeah,
scale.
maybe yeah, keep
Maybe
keep
do a
throwing
couple of
some.
Scale
selfies.
social media. They recently had a post about, oh, if you're coming out to Pasadena, here are some good eat places. Do you have your own suggestions? And that they were
Hmm.
hoping that people would spread that message around.
Well, I think James would definitely recommend Tepito.
Yeah, and then we want to get more of a direct connection with the Tapito Tech people, and then there's the yeah, taking pictures throughout the whole expo will be great. I should probably set up the entire meetup for us attending scale over the course of 5 days or 4 days, I should say.
I can share with you what I posted for our meetup if you want to, and you can definitely use the banner image because we have that to be used on social media.
Perfect. Yeah, I might just see if I can't lay our icon across it or something.
Okay,
Wow.
I'll take off now.
Welcome, James. All right, see you, Lan. Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll see
Appreciate
you
it.
still.
Take care.
See you,
See ya.
James. Bye.
By the way, the recording is going, James.
Sweet. Looks like you made it.
So, okay, let's carry on. Let's go back to the top of the agenda now and do
Mhm.
the standing topics and reports. Let me add James to the attendance.
Yep. And we are recording, James. So if you got a minute, just like we could jump straight to the vote on the thing, and if you gotta leave, that'll be fine. You are muted if you don't know.
Okay, we can come back to that in a moment. So, starting with nonprofit administration, Steve, any news?
No news other than scale is coming our way.
Okay. Still no news. Financial report.
Financial report, nothing has changed except we need to vote on a payment to myself for the amount of $1,072.94. That's coming from the checking account. That would be $2,046.41. And then, just for good measure, we have $701.61 in the savings account. So yeah, if you guys don't mind, we do a vote. It will uncoded, should uncoded, go ahead and reimburse Steven the $1,072.94 for the Airbnb for scale.
All in favor, say aye.
Anyways,
Oh, he dropped.
okay. Well, we both witnessed him in the chat, the board meetings minutes plus chat today on, was it March 2nd?
1606. Oh, sorry, 106.
Yeah.
1606 my time.
Yeah. Actually, mine's saying 151. Is it off? Yeah, 151. Yeah. Pacific time, March 2nd, 2025.
Oh no, current time. Yeah, I was referring to the timestamp from when James said,
Oh, I got you.
"Quote, I'm not going to be able to make it, but my vote for reimbursement for the Airbnb is yes." End quote.
Perfect. Okay, so at least we witnessed
let's
that.
Say that the ayes have it.
There we go.
And I suppose technically you also vote in favor of.
Yeah, it's like I
stuff.
think it's one of those things where you actually recuse yourself in a sense, but it's also a thing that needs a unanimous vote, to be putting money from nonprofit coffers into a board member's wallet. It needs a unanimous vote from the board, and to be completely open.
It was just the Airbnb, or
It was just the
additional
Airbnb.
costs?
Yeah, there will be other costs that I don't mind coming out of pocket for. Like I'm gonna be bringing some beers for the guys and maybe grabbing some food. Actually, I might just try to collect receipts for food, to be sure.
Okay. Yeah, and you should also save the receipt for the Airbnb.
Yeah, it's like on my Airbnb account, but yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Maybe see if I can't grab a screenshot or something. But yeah, I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Shall we move forward?
Yep. So next up is Hack Night. I missed this one. You want to fill us in on how that went?
Let's see. It was a bit slow. We had Pablo and Jeff and let me think. I think Chris might have shown up if it wasn't last week that Chris showed up.
It was last week.
Yeah. I think we also had a new member, but they were the quiet and shy type, and I didn't catch their name.
Okay.
And yeah, and a lot of the stuff. Oh, we had a bit. We kind of led with rant night over politics, and
in all of the time that I've been at Uncoded, Rant Night never actually had a schedule. It was just whenever someone started.
It was mostly just me and Pablo debating.
Oh no. Debate with Pablo.
Yeah, but at least this time it's about the sanity of a certain party that will not be named, and it's it was just
Okay.
at least it wasn't about the trans issue with him this time.
Okay.
But that's all personal, like disclaimer. The opinions and views argued for Rant Night do not reflect the opinions and views of the organization um, as a whole. Uh,
Mhm.
so let me think. There was also a good amount of talk I got to with Pablo about the Louis Rosman self fulfilled life wiki thing I was telling you
Mhm.
about. I'm looking forward to setting it all up so I can get my silly X1C to stay offline but still be connected to wirelessly by my PC. And it'll be great to even demonstrate that at scale if I could. Because I would, I'd like to actually be printing things at scale too. Doesn't
Yeah.
usually work out, but at least it's nice to think I can.
Mhm.
Um, Let me think. Uh,
I'm just
yeah, that's
noting the things that we talked about that I didn't write as we were talking about them.
all right. But yeah, I think we can move forward into trivia night next.
I mean, we've pretty well talked about it, right? This kind of just came out of order.
Yeah.
Um, do you hear the floor creaking from my end, by the way?
Nope.
Oh man, I'm standing on the creakiest New England wooden floor. I was muting my mic the whole conversation there.
Yeah, none of it comes out. Yeah, Discord's really good at blocking out noise, like better than
Sometimes
any other
too
app.
good. That's
Yeah.
I actually don't. Yeah, it's like one reason I don't use it for music lessons. Zoom is just far superior for music lessons.
That would make
Um,
sense.
so okay, just reiterating with the trivia night, I've got questions written for grown-up session, not for children's session. If I have an emergency this week and I'm not able to attend, Steve, you're willing to host the trivia night, correct?
Yeah, I would need a bit of
Uh,
instruction instruction on the matter,
yeah.
but I should be able to do it.
Okay. And then volunteered to bring a projector and a screen for us to use. She said that she was available before the what do they call it, next gen or something. Uh, like 6 p.m. on Saturdays. But yeah, I suggested that she just come by our table whenever is good for her. Was there anything else that we talked about related to the trivia that needs to be notated?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And James is not back, so I'm gonna say, okay. Before we move on to Tepito, anything else on trivia?
No, trivia is a go.
Okay. Okay, and then so we'll skip over to Tepito Tech because James is not here. Um, as for the newsletter, Taylor asked in the chat for something that I wasn't clear on, and then I took a couple of days to respond, and so I think it's clear that we won't have our first newsletter coming out before Scale, but that's quite all right. But we should probably plan to work in some content from Scale into the first newsletter. Um, did you understand what it was? Was he just requesting overall access to the Notion, or was there like a specific piece of content that he was missing?
Well, I think his reason for asking for the Notion was to be able to get the um, email addresses off of it, right? So we've got
Um,
email addresses we've
well,
collected, but we don't necessarily know who is cool with being given a newsletter.
yeah, yeah. So I hope that's not what he's asking for because when I spoke to him last, I was suggesting that his platform should I'd probably come with a form for sign up that'll put an email address straight into the newsletter list. And even if we have the email addresses in Notion, we still need people to go through that form because that form indicates their consent to be sent the newsletter. Otherwise, we're winging it. So, um, I mean, I'm yeah, not resistant to providing him with information that he needs, but I think that there's just an overall better way anyway, and that's for him to provide a form. Ideally, we would even have a form and a link that people can sign up for at scale. Either we
Yeah,
have like a QR code at scale,
yeah, like a
or we
flyer
do
with a
the
QR code.
old-fashioned clipboard with a form.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so scale is definitely a good time to get email addresses for newsletters.
Yeah, and we might even be able
Um,
to convince Arthur to just quickly post up a link
yeah,
to
on the
said
website.
form once it's there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe we can like have a QR code on the table and um, then have it linked to from uncoded.org. So let me just notate. So Taylor requested access to Notion, most likely for uh, the directory. Um, how do I word this? However, um, let's say Peter suggests that a form is a better way to collect since the form also indicates consent to receive the newsletter.
I just got this idea.
Um,
I just
mhm.
just something funny that popped in my head here. Like a lot of the reasons people don't show up to meetings is because they're incredibly boring, and people who have to go to meetings at their work are incredibly boring. Wouldn't it be great if somebody like tried to develop a way of Robert's rules that would just make it so fun and exciting that people would want to go?
Sometimes you can take a nail out with another nail, I guess. Like Robert's rules is also boring as hell.
There's that, yeah, there's that too. But I think it's
Yeah.
because Robert's rules is boring. But we don't even use Robert's rules, and a lot of the issue is just people talking about things that don't really like mean anything to others in the room. Um, so
You know
yeah,
that Monty Python skit where like I think someone goes into a police office or something and he's trying to talk and the police officer insists that he can't understand him because he's speaking in the wrong frequency and then it just like devolves into all these characters speaking in completely different absurd ways like one squeaking really high yeah, that's what I imagine
yeah.
as the possible Robert's rules that could rescue board meetings.
It's definitely a thought. That or maybe it just needs to get to a point where you don't actually meet up and everybody kind of follows through with their role in their own given time.
I think the best thing is if everyone already does what I was thinking that they should do, no communication, just starts.
Well, I think
Uh,
communication's necessary. It's just like I wonder if it's necessary on these regular board meetings, or maybe just there could be the board minutes plus thread that just keeps evolving with people communicating back and forth. Then the real problem is like nudging each other to go like, hey, follow up with that one.
mm-hmm.
Either way, it's got to be much more fun than it is. That's the real
I mean, one thing that would make this a little less boring is if we didn't have the entire conversation and then listen to me slowly typing out the reduction
That,
of what was just talked about,
you
since
know,
nobody took minutes the whole time.
maybe that's it. The solution is in AI, right? Like not only AI trying to
Hmm.
entertain everybody with jokes every other sentence, but also AI basically taking up all the notes of what people say and what they're contributing.
Well, won't be long now.
It won't. It's like right on that verge.
Um, on. So that's the end of old business. Is there any new business we want to talk about?
Um, let's see. As far as new business, I think we're gonna be hitting up a lot of things that we want to consider, like for collaborations at scale. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's gonna usually most of them are just gonna fall off and die, and people forget each other.
Yeah.
We're gonna recognize some of the people that we spoke to last year, so might get like more boosted again. But it's really just a question of like how do we maintain these connections and actually stay active. Um, there's also a lot of like energy taken out of me just for like the long ass commute that I have. So there's
Yeah.
only so much that I can push for like more events. I can't quite promise to lead most of them. In fact, just
Mm-hmm.
almost every trivia night, I get in trouble in some kind of a way for
How?
like not having time for other people in my life
Oh,
because I'm always with my friends.
okay.
I'm like, I just
Um,
have 2 nights sometimes and one night every week.
yeah. Well, I think what Lan said was actually uh, crucial, and I have been kind of thinking something adjacent to it, but I think the way she said it was far more persuasive. I think when it comes to getting people to volunteer, you're gonna have, two different types. You're gonna have the champions, the ones who are gonna take complete ownership of some idea and bring it to completion and carry it forth into the future.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, like people don't have a lot of, even if people have an idea that they're passionate about, they may not have the time to do it, right? We've got our commutes from Santa Monica, we've got other things pulling us in different directions. And for those, I think the way that we're missing out is that we don't, like, we could be making more bite-sized specific tasks that we recruit volunteers for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people would be happy to help if there were just like a clear thing, like, hey, we need someone to do 2 hours of flyering on Saturday or something, right? From 11 to 1. And it's just like it's a specific task. It's got a limited scope. It's got instructions, right? I think we might be able to take, when we last year at scale we got a lot of interest, and that's interest kind of slowly, just faded as people kind of drifted away from the group. A lot of some amount of turnover is expected, but I feel like there were some people that maybe were more interested in like volunteering, but we just didn't kind of package it up for them to be able to just to do it without having to dedicate a lot of their passion and time and effort to it.
Yeah. So yeah,
What do you?
I think part of it too is like we've got energy like James gives us, right? Like he's excited to like just go out and go
These are hot for sure.
enjoy like helping fly with flyering, enjoying with
Mm.
like little things that don't really take like any kind of education he doesn't already have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the I think it's those little things that kind of like what Lamb was saying. If we focus on just um, being able to go, hey, can I get you to do something as simple as tabling with me? Can I get you to do something as simple as you know?
Yeah.
We have to brainstorm and think of like what those things are. Because it's like it's mostly these
Yeah.
bigger picture things that we don't know anything about that are uh, more complicated. So I think maybe getting to know people's skills more, maybe even recording them in the
Mm-hmm.
Notion, would be helpful, and then
Yeah,
trying to,
that was one of our goals with Notion, wasn't it?
yeah,
To keep track of whose skills were what.
yeah, yeah. And then so if we did a better job at that, just like getting to know people, maybe through a form, right, of what their actual
Hmm.
uh, uh, knowledge and passions are, then we can understand like, okay, like when are you looking for something along these lines to do, right? And then also trying to see
Hmm.
like what kind of time availability do they have for various events if they want to be a part of making them happen. So yeah, it's just a matter of like start with getting those little simple things out of them and then trying to build up from there
Hmm.
as you like get
Yeah,
to know them more.
yeah, and I think so. We have like among the leadership, among the triumvirate here, um, we do have our areas where we're just like we're dumb. We know we don't know much about X,
Yeah,
right? Like I have no idea how to approach fundraising at all. Uh, um,
where
so
Socrates
like
before he was
we
the
think
wisest.
we think a, we think a lot about those topics as areas where we need some volunteer time. But there are plenty that are more specific that um, we could be more detailed about and have a list that maybe even yet another channel within the Discord or something where we can just post like, hey, we need a volunteer to get on this very specific task. Is anybody
Yeah,
willing?
yeah, that's a thing too. Like I'm doing more to ask for advice, and I am getting it
Hmm.
sometimes. But if we had heavier traffic of people actually offering their advice, either through the Element or through the Discord, that'd be great.
Yeah. So beyond that, I'm not really sure how to, yeah, what the next thing to do there is. But I guess that's something to keep in mind. Maybe we can talk about this a little more as we see how the interest looks and what kind of people get interested in uncoded after scale.
Yeah, it might even turn out like how these latest upgrades to AI have turned out. Is like maybe the reality is we just need to keep pedaling forward until we scale up from what we're already doing.
Yeah.
If maybe more places to table, yeah, more events to table would actually do a lot more to advertise as well, especially if we keep it in the Long Beach area.
I mean, that was last year. That was very effective. I mean, right after this, we did Toro Hack, and I feel like we do well when we table, but it takes a lot of effort to be aware of what is going on. It takes quite a yeah. So I don't know how to make that better.
Um, well, I don't really think it needs to be so much better as it needs to be more often. I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but in order for it to be more often, we have to know about the events
Ah, right, right,
because
okay.
they don't come to us,
We have to go discover
we
them.
have to go to them.
Yeah,
So like we knew about Toro Hack and we knew about DataCon, um, but maybe what if there was something else that happened that we didn't even know about that was at the Holiday Inn on 405, right? And we just like came and went and we didn't know.
yeah. Maybe we check more on meetup.com for events. Like maybe if people are posting their
Hmm.
groups are going to these major events. Um,
Yeah.
and also, I always wondered if like does the convention center have like a web page that'll tell you the upcoming? Because oftentimes they'll tell you the next thing, but I couldn't quite find what's 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 all the upcoming events for the whole year.
Long Beach Convention Center.
Yeah. There's definitely some ways I can
Um,
go about learning more from uh, CSU Long Beach student clubs. That's not too hard for me to. Well, the hard part is finding the time, right, and then lining things up so that we're all set to go. But if I maybe at
yeah,
least put it out there as like some tech events in the local area on that channel in the Discord, then you guys can be aware and maybe follow up.
yeah, yeah. As I said before, it feels sometimes like we're a Roman warship with only one of us rowing at a time.
Yeah, but that's mostly because we don't have funds, right? I mean, we have funds, but we don't have funds that we feel free to use because they're not being refilled. Um, but once we do get to some point where we
Mm-hmm.
understand fundraising and can do things that will earn that fundraising from others, then we can definitely push this shit forward, more powerfully. It's just we need to get to a point where we can actually pay people to either pay people to for like actual full time jobs, or pay for the stuff that rewards the volunteers, right? Like, hey, we're gonna feed you if you go to this event with us and help us with this, that kind of a thing.
Right, right.
And that probably has some limits too, when it when it goes from rewarding your volunteers to indentured servitude.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's in punishment for a crime, then it's fine.
Okay.
Um, so I'm actually scrolling through the convention center's calendar, and there is one. This includes both the terrace theater and the expo hall and everything. Um,
You
yeah,
know,
maybe that's not a bad idea to just watch that calendar. That's one good source.
yeah.
And
Also
would
consider.
probably could possibly lead us to things that we wouldn't have other thought of. For example, May 3rd, UMass global commencement. I don't know if this is for like people who are or like correspondents or something. Like it seems to be a commencement, like just a graduation, right?
Oh,
Uh, uh, yeah, it's interesting. I guess for people who are local to
um,
LA
but
and
also
studying through UMass.
I would look for I would look for events that are like there's a Long Beach Comic Con like convention, not like connected with the big one, the Comic Con
Mm-hmm.
International, but it's a comic book convention in Long Beach that happens annually, and us getting a table there would actually be pretty useful. It just depends on if they would charge
Yeah,
us, and if so, how much.
yeah. There's a Space Tech Expo on June 3rd and 4th. Paul Simon in concert. Like the real Paul Simon, not like a tribute. Louis C.K. That's
Louis C.K. is
pretty
gonna
awesome.
be doing stand up at the convention center.
They haven't specified what he'll be doing, and I'm not sure I want to know.
Ooh. I mean, I hope it's
But
comedy.
that's all the way out December 4th.
Uh,
So, so yeah, it looks like the way it kind of fills in, we might want to keep an eye on the list.
all right.
But yeah, anyway, I think the more important general point here is just we should make it figure out how to keep our finger on the pulse with events that would be good candidates for us to table at. I feel like every event we do, we get interest, um, and that's probably the more effective way for us to get interest.
Yeah. Um. So let me think. I think we could probably move forward to adjourn. Um. Let me see. I don't suppose if you have time afterward, would you be interested in helping me shop for the parts I need for this project?
Um, Tonight isn't a good night because I have the kind of unexpected planning that I need to work through.
All right.
Uh, but I'd be happy to help. I am 3 hours ahead of you, so I don't know if so. Tomorrow you'll be at work, right? Is that a bad time?
Yeah, I'll be at work during the day, and then I'll come
Okay.
home tired in the evening.
Okay. Yeah, I think uh, when I can help is very dependent on decisions that haven't been made yet. So I'll have to let you know.
Understandable. And then yeah, so I'll just keep updating my progress if you feel like putting your 2 cents in on the general chat.
Okay. Can I suggest for going forward um, that a while back I started putting like AI summaries of our meeting minutes,
Uh huh.
which like Notion will generate. In addition to action item review, maybe we can just put another like item that we do every single time at the end of the meeting, which is to just um, create an AI summary and read it. So
Okay.
just everybody like approves like yes, looks good.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, and that'll be easier to just check that summary before every meeting, rather than trying to scroll through the whole minutes.
Yeah. So let me read out the summary that it just generated. Board meeting met on March 2nd, 2025 with Stephen Moore, Peter Stevens, Lon Dang, James Bates in attendance. Current finances 70161 in savings, 2046.41 in checking. Board approved a $1,072.94 reimbursement to Stephen Moore for Airbnb payment. Hack Night had a new shy member attended, but name wasn't recorded. I don't know if we need to put that there.
Yeah, we can skip that.
Can I just delete part of it? Or do I have to accept the whole thing? Okay, whatever. Peter has prepared adult trivia questions. That sounds dirty. But needs to complete children's questions. Steve will host if Peter has a family emergency. Lamb will provide projector equipment. Newsletter sign up will use a form instead of direct Notion access to ensure proper consent. No progress reported on Topito Tech Initiative, and no new business was discussed. Any objections other than the two that I raised?
No, no objections. It does it even let you copy and paste it?
So I'm thinking I'm gonna hit accept and then edit what it wrote because yeah, okay, let's say grown up instead of adult because I feel like adult sounds like triple X. And we don't need to mention the shy member. We'll just say had a new member or attendee. Um, yeah, shall I copy and paste all of this into the board meeting chat?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, that'd
just
be
leave
great.
it here? Like,
I like that idea.
kind of the next.
The board minutes
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah. Including the financial information. Okay, sent it.
Awesome. Okie doke. So, shall we?
All right.
Or
Let's
action items?
adjourn this bitch. Oh yeah, action item review.
Prepare for scale.
Oh, James is back.
What's up, James? Can you speak now? You are still muted.
Action item, Stephen Moore. Make Eventbrite page. Design and 3D print business card holders to hand out for members to distribute business cards. Meet with Lawrence and Peter for QuickBook Lessons 2. Reserve an Airbnb for scale. Done.
Done. Done.
Oh,
Done.
we're
And then
still
poetry.
here?
Yo.
Yeah, we're still here.
Hey.
Man, guys, look, I am so sorry for being so late. Basically, what had happened was
By the way,
I
the
was with
recording
my
is still going.
Yeah, we're recording
Alright.
still.
okay.
But
What had happened was I was with my son,
Uh-huh.
and then after my son, I went to get something to eat, and I was at Whole Foods, and the reception was bad. So, anywho, my vote is yes for reimbursing Steve on the Airbnb for this coming weekend for scale. And to add to that, I will reach out to Nevi about.
Not Nevi this
doing-
time. Ryan.
I don't have Ryan's number, or I do
Oh,
have
okay.
it. What am I saying?
Uh,
I don't have it off the top of my head, is what I should say.
okay. I don't have it off the top of my head. Oh, but you know what? I should put it in the Notion anyway. That is important directory information. Do we already have him?
We just might.
Yeah.
Ryan. Yep. Oh, but he's the number given for him in the Notion is not the same as the number he gave me.
Is it the same last name?
Yeah, Ryan McIntyre.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know if
Are
one
we
of them
able-
might be office phone. Can
Yeah.
I put more than? No, I can't put more than one phone in the same box.
I guess maybe double check if it's District Pizza or it's Kennedy's. That we recorded earlier.
Yeah.
That's odd. Like, of all things, Notion couldn't let you do multiple numbers?
Well, it's one box that's designated as a number, so it's like the number is the value of that box, and so if you want another number, then you have another box, right? It's like you could have home phone and mobile phone.
Well, maybe
but,
we
yeah.
maybe we should yeah, like add second phone number column or something.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Add property. I'm gonna just say phone too. I don't know that it's valuable to like have all these distinctions, you know, like mobile phone and home phone and work phone and
Yeah, I think
the
it's good
most
for a
of the phones that
database.
we don't even know if what it is.
I think it's good for a database if you can add such things, but not if it's like, oh, you have to have a slot for everybody to have those things.
Yeah. I just added a property and it didn't do it. Oh, I see. Did that work? There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm adding this number and then I'm going to add a comment explaining that that is his cell phone.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. There we go. Okay, continuing on with the action items. So I guess we can say action item for James is to text Ryan. And you could make it a group chat. That's easier.
Oakley dokley.
Alright, text Ryan about March 13 trivia. So Peter Stevens, create new digital asset management workspace in Notion. Ask Art for digital assets we do not already have. James Bates, discuss audio production class curriculum with Peter. Text Ryan about March 13 trivia. Jeff Coates, review policy documents and provide feedback. Taylor Seeger, develop welcome newsletter. Are we ready to adjourn this bitch?
Ready.
Let's adjourn.
Meeting adjourned at 3:30? No, 2:30. Sorry, I'm in New England, so I'm doing the math.
Dude, why are you in New England doing math? You can do math
Two-
in America.
2:31. It's 2:31.
2:31.
Yeah,
All
there you
right.
go.
I just don't
Okay.
understand why you would go to New England to do math, Peter.
Oh man. If you don't understand, I don't know how to explain it to you. Talk to you guys
Well, hey,
later.
See you on Tuesday for Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras.
Yes,
yeah.
Mardi Gras. All right, see you guys later.
Yeah.